Okay, my next guest is a pastor of a growing congregation, but his church, let's just say it's out of this world. Welcome, Pastor DJ Soto.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Okay, so you are the first pastor of a virtual reality church.
Yes, my wife and I, just to back up, we're pastors at a physical church in Pennsylvania, part
Okay.
of the mega church ministry there. Thought we were going to plant physical churches out of that,
Yep.
but realized God wanted us to do something that we wouldn't even imagine, which is plant churches in virtual reality, and that's what we did, virtual reality church.
So what does that mean, virtual reality?
Well, in a simple way, it's kind of you're putting on these goggles or a headset, and you're looking through, and the reality that you see is being replaced with another reality, another virtual world. So when you put on these VR headsets, you can look left, right, up, and down, and it's very immersive. And there's no shortage of YouTube videos of people like jumping and screaming and falling over it because it feels real.
Yeah, so we have some footage of what this virtual reality church looks like. And so explain what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, so this is my avatar in VR, and this is some of my church members are behind us. We're doing a welcome video here. And as you can see, my hands are mimicking what I'm doing in the physical world. So as I raise my hand in the physical world, my avatar mirrors that. And when people are in VR, it's such a immersive, compelling feeling. And this is part of our church world. So when you think of the future of church buildings, you're going to think of less of a building and more of a virtual world. And so these are these immersive environments. In this video, this is one of our early church buildings, one of the first ones we ever created. And you can see me waving to my parishioners, and we're giving each other high fives and saying hello to each other. There's 3D spatial sound, so I can hear them. If somebody's in the distance, I don't hear them as well. They're a little bit quieter, but yeah.
So essentially, because I've done VR before, my husband loves VR. So you're putting on this visor thing, but everybody else all around the world are also putting these things on and entering into this world. So those are real people that we're seeing that have entered into this world. You have a fascinating story, because as you alluded to, you were a pastor of a physical church for a number of years, but decided you wanted to reach a different community, sold everything, put your family in an RV and started traveling, and started first of all doing pop-up churches, and then figured out that you wanted to start having a church in a VR world. Describe the need and why you wanted to do this.
Well, first of all, it was more of just an experiment at first. We thought, man, it'd be cool to have a church service in VR when social VR started coming out a couple years ago. And what became an experiment, people started to show up, volunteers and leaders started to arise. And then it was like almost an epiphany. Like one day we said, wait a second, I think we're planning a church in virtual reality. It was almost an accidental church plant. And we have elders and leaders and volunteers, and people ask, what's VR church like? And I say, it's probably what your church is like, just in VR. So we have church services, we have prayers, we have sermons, we have small groups during the week. We also do sacraments in VR. So the life of the church has been, for us, an immersive experience translated into virtual reality.
But why the desire to form this church in VR? What was happening in the physical church that you were at that you thought, I want to move this, I want to start something in the VR world?
I don't know if it was so much the physical, other than, we did have this feeling that we needed to do something new. So it wasn't necessarily a reaction to what was the current construct. I think it was God wanted us to do a new ministry, and a ministry that is going to reach people who, for instance, can't leave the home, whether they're homebound or we have people that come with severe social anxiety. People, for whatever reason, can't get to the physical church, but with virtual reality church, they're able to be a part of a faith community from their home.
And you're finding a lot of people who are searching, spiritually searching, are being attracted to virtual churches.
Yes, and I think it's the nature of the platform. So when many people who are atheists and agnostics come to VR Church, and I think they still want to have conversations about faith. Maybe that was part of their history. I think it's hard for them to go to the physical church, but the nature of virtual reality, they're able just to come right in and have those conversations. So people just put on their headsets and they're able to engage and talk about God, faith, and science. And so from that perspective, we're just able to reach many people that would have a hard time getting physically to a church.
There might be some critics that will say, is this really church? Are you interacting face to face at any time with your parishioners? What would you say to that?
Well, I think for us, we've had some criticism about, well, aren't people going to be fake in VR? They got the avatar, they're going to change maybe their persona. And what we found is it's the complete opposite. People are super authentic. There's something about the avatar that there's a sense of anonymity, and with that anonymity leads to deep authenticity. So we're having these deep personal conversations. As a matter of fact, my friend was watching me preach one time, and afterwards a teenager from Boston came up and started talking about depression and suicide and the struggles that he's having. And my friend was like, he just met you. How is he talking about these deep issues right off the bat? And I said, it's the nature of virtual reality. So you take that one story and multiply it 1,000 times over of just this ministry we're able to have where people feel comfortable to be themselves and to be authentic.
So on a Sunday, I get up, I get dressed, I get my family dressed, I go to church. When you get up on a Sunday, what happens?
So when we get up on a Sunday, I do a lot of time preparing for the sermon, making sure my leaders and volunteers are well equipped. But then about 30 minutes before the service, our leaders will come into the space, the virtual reality space.
So everybody puts on their...
Yeah, everyone puts on their VR headsets from wherever they're out. And it's all over the world, from the Netherlands to Africa to the West Coast. And so everyone puts on their VR headsets. They get their touch controllers out so they can do their motions, and we'll gather up in the prayer area. And it feels real. It'd be like, let's say you were here, we had 3 or 4 more people just gathered here talking and praying. That's the same idea, the same feeling that we have. We're waving to each other and we're praying, and then we'll prepare for the service and we'll go spread out. People will go to the welcome desk, people will man the prayer area. I'll get ready for the sermon slides. And so it's just like you would see a church staff preparing for their live service. That's what we're doing.
Wow. And so is there connection throughout the week? Like I would go to a home church. Are there cell groups?
Yeah, so we have several that meet throughout the week. We call them life groups. They're basically Bible studies, opportunities for small gatherings.
In VR as well?
Yep, in VR. And it's fun because they'll pick different places. One will be in outer space. They'll have a VR church, or maybe it'll be underwater. They'll pick these fantastical environments. And that's the thing about VR churches or virtual reality, is that you can create anything you want. You can explore any virtual land you want. Some of my elder meetings have been on the moon. And when I show that image to people when I'm giving a presentation, people just love that. They laugh. They see a bunch of elders like hanging out in this moon station. And so VR is going to provide a lot of opportunities, not just to connect socially, but to explore these amazing virtual worlds.
I've also seen baptisms being done at your church as well, in the VR world.
Yeah, well, actually, to think about baptisms, we took some time to get to that conclusion. Is that viable? Is that right for us? Because I don't think it's ever been done before, a baptism in virtual reality. So we had our elders get together, we had the discussion, and really quickly came to the conclusion that yes, because of the immersive feel that you have when you're underwater and the experience that you have, that baptisms are for us. And some of our favorite services of the year have been our baptism services. A gentleman who was addicted to heroin for over 10 years was able to get baptized. There was maybe a disconnect at his local church, but he wanted to get baptized. And so we did that. A gal with severe social anxiety, she was baptized. And one of our current pastors, Pastor Alina, she was baptized. She has a condition I can't even pronounce, and she can't leave the home. And I remember her coming out of the water and just crying. I heard her crying. And later on she said, I never thought I'd be able to get to do all this. I never thought I'd be able to get baptized or be a part of the life of the church. So this new technology, which is new, and it seems strange. When you look on the outside, someone doing VR, it looks a little absurd. But like inside, they're experiencing these amazing immersive virtual worlds. And so for Alina, what VR has done, and for many people like her, is not just provide an opportunity to attend a church, maybe through like a webcast or something like that. Now they can participate, and she's one of our lead pastors. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Pastor DJ, for
Thank you so
joining
much.
us today and allowing us to explore this whole new world.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey, we're adding new and powerful stories every single day, so if you haven't already, hit subscribe and stay up to date with our latest content.